A young billionaire attends her husband's funeral and notices a little girl with a baby praying beside the coffin. When she realizes what the child is saying, she can't hold back her tears. "Mrs. Wilson," Jennifer looked up from her laptop screen, where she was reviewing the latest financial reports from her pharmaceutical company. Her assistant stood in the doorway of the conference room, holding the phone with an expression that made Jennifer's stomach turn cold. "It's Central Hospital. They say it's urgent." Time seemed to slow down as she brought the phone to her ear. The executive who had been presenting the financial projections stopped speaking, and the silence in the room became deafening. "Mrs. Wilson?" The voice on the other end was grave and cautious. "This is Dr. Matthews from Central Hospital. There's been a car accident involving your husband, Robert Wilson. The situation is critical. We need you to come immediately." "Accident?" The word came out as a whisper. "What do you mean accident? I had coffee with him 2 hours ago." "Mrs. Wilson, please come as soon as possible. He's in surgery right now." Jennifer stood up so abruptly that her chair toppled over behind her. Her legs trembled, but she forced herself to remain upright. "I'm on my way. Please, tell him I'm coming." The drive to the hospital was torture. Every second felt like an eternity. Jennifer alternated between silent prayers and desperate messages to Robert's cell phone, which remained silent. Her driver broke every speed limit possible, but still time dragged with relentless cruelty. The automatic doors of the hospital slid open with a hiss that sounded like an omen. The smell of antiseptic and disinfectant hit her like a slap. A nurse was waiting at the reception desk, as though she knew exactly who Jennifer was. The wife of the man fighting for his life a few rooms away. "This way, Mrs. Wilson." The private waiting room she was led to was decorated with abstract paintings and armchairs that tried unsuccessfully to appear welcoming. Jennifer refused to sit. Her Louboutin heels tapped out a frantic rhythm on the floor as she paced back and forth. Time turned into a cruel, viscous entity. Minutes dragged by like hours. The ticking of the clock on the wall seemed to mock her anguish. When the door finally opened, Jennifer knew. She knew before seeing the expression on the doctor's face. She knew before he opened his mouth. She knew before hearing the words that would shatter her world. "Mrs. Wilson." Dr. Matthews removed his surgical cap, his eyes filled with a compassion she didn't want to see. "We did everything in our power. The collision was extremely severe. The internal damage was too extensive." "I'm sorry, but your husband didn't survive his injuries." The world didn't crumble with a bang. It disintegrated in silence. "No!" The word slipped from her lips like a late prayer. "No, this isn't happening. I need to see him. I need to—" "Mrs. Wilson." The doctor took a step towards her, but she backed away. "Robert can't be gone. He has a meeting tonight. With investors. He never misses meetings. The words died in her throat as the doctor gently took her hands. His next words finally broke the last barrier of her denial. "If you would like to say your goodbyes, now is the time." The hallway to the room where Robert lay seemed endless. Each step felt heavier than the last. When she finally reached the door, Jennifer hesitated. On the other side was the confirmation of a nightmare from which she would never fully awaken. Robert looked like he was sleeping. His face was serene, almost as though he could open his eyes at any moment and flash that smile that had won her heart years ago. But the silence was too loud. The absence of movement too devastating. "I love you," she whispered, touching his still warm cheek. "Please come back to me." But Robert Wilson, 35 years old, her husband, her partner, her best friend, was gone. The following hours were a blur of paperwork and condolences. Jennifer signed documents without reading them, answered questions without processing them, and moved like an automaton through the hospital corridors until she finally found herself alone in her mansion. The silence was deafening. Every room held memories that now felt like razor-sharp blades against her heart. His coffee cup was still in the sink, with his lipstick mark where he had left it that morning. His favorite blazer was still tossed over the couch, waiting to be worn again. His cologne still lingered in the air, a cruel ghost of everything she had lost. Jennifer wandered through the corridors like a shadow. touching objects that now suddenly carried the weight of an entire lifetime. In her bedroom, Robert's side of the bed was still messy. He always said he would make it later. In the closet, his ties were arranged by color, a habit she used to find both adorable and annoying. When she reached his office, her legs finally gave out. The laptop was still open, displaying the last email he had written. The screensaver cycled through photos of them, frozen moments of happiness that now seemed to belong to another life. Night fell over the Wilson mansion, wrapping it in shadows that danced on the walls. Somewhere, a clock counted the implacable passage of time, reminding her that the world kept turning even though hers had completely stopped. Jennifer Wilson, 29 years old, CEO of one of the largest pharmaceutical companies in the country, a billionaire and now a widow, sat on the floor of her husband's office until dawn, surrounded by fragments of a life that had been brutally cut short. Soon, she would have to face the outside world, make phone calls, arrange a funeral, deal with lawyers and wills. But at that moment, enveloped by darkness and silence, she allowed herself to exist only in the void between what was and what would be, between the last "I love you" from the morning and the first day of the rest of her life without Robert. The 2 days following Robert's death passed like a fever dream. Jennifer moved between phone calls, funeral arrangements, and visits from the family lawyer as if watching everything through frosted glass. The decision to hold the wake at the mansion came naturally. Robert always said the house should be a place for gatherings, for life. The morning of the wake dawned ironically sunny. From her bedroom window, Jennifer watched as the funeral company transformed the grand main hall. The baby grand piano, where Robert had tried and failed to learn to play, was moved aside to make room for the polished mahogany coffin. "Mrs. Wilson?" Her housekeeper's gentle voice brought her back to reality. "The florists have arrived with the arrangements." Jennifer nodded mechanically, her fingers unconsciously twisting her wedding ring. White lilies, Robert's favorite flowers. He always said their scent reminded him of his mother's garden. As the morning wore on, the mansion began to fill. The echo of heels on marble and hushed condolences resonated through the corridors. Jennifer recognized every face: CEOs, investors, politicians, the entire business and social elite, all impeccably dressed in black, all wearing carefully solemn expressions. Jennifer, darling, the wife of the board's president, embraced her. What a terrible tragedy. A priceless loss for the market. The vice president of a competing company shook her hand. Robert was a visionary. The words slid off her without sinking in. Every hug, every handshake, every "I'm so sorry" sounded empty, mechanical. Jennifer found herself observing the interactions as if watching a poorly rehearsed play. There was a group of investors, discreetly discussing the implications of Robert's death on the stock market. Further on, executives exchanged business cards, taking the opportunity to network. Feeling suffocated by the hypocrisy of it all, Jennifer sought refuge behind one of the hall's columns. From there, she had a partial view of the coffin where Robert lay, surrounded by lily arrangements that now seemed absurdly ostentatious. The constant murmur of voices was interrupted by a small commotion near the entrance. Jennifer leaned forward slightly, curious, and then she saw her. A small girl, no older than 4, was walking across the hall carrying a baby in her arms. Her bare feet made no sound against the Italian marble, and her worn clothes contrasted dramatically with the expensive suits and designer dresses around her. The baby, similarly shabbily dressed, slept peacefully in her arms. Jennifer held her breath, captivated by the surreal scene. The child moved with impressive determination for someone so young, ignoring the scandalized looks from the guests. Her dark hair, badly held in a messy ponytail, swayed with each step. When she reached the coffin, the little one carefully adjusted the baby in her arms before kneeling down. The silence that followed was absolute, as though everyone present had been bewitched by the unexpected presence of this child. "Thank you for being our hero, Uncle Robert." The child's voice, clear and sweet, echoed in the silent hall. "Now you're an angel in heaven." Jennifer felt tears rolling down her cheeks before she even realized she was crying. There was something about the simplicity of those words, the absolute sincerity of that small voice, that pierced the numbness she'd felt since Robert's death. The baby in the girl's arms stirred, letting out a small sigh. She adjusted him with a care that was deeply moving, murmuring something soft that Jennifer couldn't hear. Compelled by an impulse she couldn't explain, Jennifer emerged from her hiding place. Her legs trembled as she approached the children, but before she could reach them, a flurry of scandalized voices shattered the moment's enchantment. "Who let those kids in? Where's security? Somebody call the doorman." In the brief moment of confusion that followed, the girl stood up with surprising agility. Her eyes met Jennifer's for an instant, big, dark eyes carrying wisdom far beyond her years. Then, just as she had appeared, she disappeared into the crowd of well-dressed legs, taking the baby with her. "Jennifer!" Her personal assistant's voice came from nearby. "Are you all right? Don't worry. We've already called security to deal with the situation." But Jennifer hardly heard her. Her eyes remained fixed on the spot where the children had vanished. Who were they? How did they know Robert, and why did they call him Uncle? And why, for the first time since that fateful phone call from the hospital, did her heart feel something other than pain? The rest of the wake passed in a blur in her memory. Jennifer mechanically fulfilled her role as the grieving widow, accepting condolences and thanking people for coming. But her mind kept returning to that moment, the image of the small barefoot girl, the baby asleep in her arms, and the purity of that simple prayer. When night finally fell, and the last guest departed, Jennifer found herself alone again in the silent mansion. She walked over to the coffin, now surrounded only by lilies that were slowly wilting. Her fingers traced Robert's serene face gently. "Who were they, Robert?" she whispered into the silence. "What else didn't you tell me?" The question went unanswered, echoing through the mansion's empty corridors. But something had changed. In place of the numbness that had consumed her for the past few days, Jennifer felt a burning curiosity, an almost physical need to uncover the truth behind those mysterious children. As she climbed the stairs to her lonely bedroom, Jennifer knew she would not be able to rest until she solved this mystery. The little girl's words echoed in her mind, "Our hero, Uncle Robert." What kind of hero had her husband been? And to whom? The answer to those questions would change her life forever, though she did not know it yet. For now, all she had were unanswered questions and the memory of a child's prayer that had somehow begun to melt the ice encasing her heart since Robert's death. The image of the two children would not leave Jennifer's thoughts. 3 days after the funeral, she found herself searching through Robert's office for the third time, looking for any clue that could lead her to them. Bank statements, random notes, receipts. Anything that would explain the connection between her husband and those mysterious kids. "Marcus," she said into the intercom to her driver, "please get the car ready. We're going to make some visits." Jennifer had memorized Robert's daily route by reviewing the GPS history on his car. There was a recurring detour in his schedule, always on Tuesdays and Thursdays. The destination, a pharmacy in the city's commercial district. Central Pharmacy was different from the upscale drugstores Jennifer was used to frequenting. The sign was faded, and an old bell jingled when she pushed the glass door. The air conditioner hummed loudly, fighting against the morning heat. "Can I help you?" asked the pharmacist, a middle-aged man with thick-rimmed glasses, barely glancing up from his papers. "Yes." Jennifer adjusted her Hermes bag on her shoulder, feeling strangely out of place. "I'm Jennifer Wilson." The name had an immediate effect. The man's head snapped up, his eyes widening in recognition. "Mrs. Wilson, I'm so sorry for your loss." "Thank you." She approached the counter, keeping her voice low. "I need information about the medications my husband used to buy here." The pharmacist, Dr. Peterson, according to his badge, visibly paled. "Mrs. Wilson, there are confidentiality issues." "They were pediatric medications, weren't they?" Jennifer insisted, her voice trembling slightly. "For a baby." Peterson removed his glasses, nervously wiping them with the hem of his lab coat. "Your husband, he asked for absolute discretion, and now he's gone." The words came out harsher than she intended. Jennifer took a deep breath, softening her tone. "Please, I need to know." The man hesitated for a long moment, before sighing heavily. "They were specialized pediatric medications, very expensive, Mr. Wilson paid in cash and always asked that there be no record in his name. What kind of medications? They were for a rare autoimmune condition, Peterson said, lowering his voice. The kind of medication that few can afford. Your husband, he was a good man, Mrs. Wilson. A very good man. Jennifer felt tears threatening to fall. Robert, her Robert, keeping such profound secrets. Was there a delivery address? He always picked them up himself. Peterson hesitated again. But once, there was an emergency. I had to deliver them. He scribbled something on a piece of paper. Riverside District on the east side. Riverside was a working-class neighborhood, miles away from the world of mansions and luxury cars Jennifer inhabited. When her driver stopped in front of the given address, she almost couldn't believe it. The building was old, 3 stories high, with peeling paint that must have once been white. Mrs. Wilson, Marcus sounded worried through the rearview mirror. Are you sure you want to go inside? Jennifer nodded, adjusting her sunglasses. The lobby smelled of mildew and cheap cleaning products. An elderly lady was sweeping the floor, quietly humming to herself. Excuse me, Jennifer called softly. I'm looking for... The lady looked up, and something in her gaze made Jennifer stop. It was a look of recognition. Oh, the elderly woman leaned on her broom. You're Mr. Wilson's wife. Jennifer's heart sped up. You knew him? Of course I did. Such a good man. The woman, Mrs. Martha, as she introduced herself, pointed to the 3rd floor. Apartment 302. He rented it for the children. The children! Jennifer could hardly keep her voice from trembling. A little girl and a baby. Mrs. Martha nodded slowly. Angels, those kids. Little Lily, so grown up for her age, and baby Ethan, always so sick. Her eyes grew sad with an old sorrow. Your husband was a blessing to them. How? Jennifer swallowed. How did they meet? That I don't know, dear. One day he showed up, rented the apartment, paid 6 months in advance. He came every Tuesday and Thursday. The woman went back to sweeping. But I shouldn't say more. He always asked for discretion, you know? Jennifer climbed the stairs as if in a trance, her heels echoing on the concrete steps. 3rd floor, apartment 302. The door was simple, cheap wood with a lock that had seen better days. She knocked once, then again. Silence. They went out early today. Mrs. Martha's voice drifted up from below. They always leave early. Jennifer pressed her forehead against the cold door, letting the tears finally flow down her face. Somewhere behind that door lay Robert's secret life, a life of kindness and compassion he had kept hidden from her. Why, Robert, she whispered into the silence. Why didn't you tell me? The sun was beginning to set when Jennifer finally returned to her mansion. That day's discoveries weighed on her mind like precious, painful stones. Her husband, the man she thought she knew so well, had a parallel life of secret generosity. Sitting in her luxurious office, Jennifer opened her laptop and began taking notes. Expensive medications, rented apartment, regular visits, a girl named Lily, a baby named Ethan. Each piece of information was a fragment of a puzzle she was determined to solve. I'll find them, she promised the photo of Robert on her desk. And I'll understand why you kept them secret. Night fell over the Wilson mansion, but Jennifer remained in her office, surrounded by notes and unanswered questions. Somewhere in the city, in a small 3rd-floor apartment in a rundown building, 2 mysterious children held the secret to Robert Wilson's silent acts of kindness, and Jennifer was determined to uncover the whole truth. Jennifer parked her luxury car in front of the worn-down building in the Riverside neighborhood. The contrast between her shiny vehicle and the dilapidated surroundings could not have been more striking. She hesitated for a moment, hands still gripping the wheel, as she watched the building's entrance through the windshield. It was a Tuesday morning, and Jennifer had chosen this specific day based on the information she'd gathered about Robert's routine. If her calculations were correct, the children should be in the apartment now. With a deep breath, she finally stepped out of the car, adjusting her designer blazer and smoothing out imaginary wrinkles in her skirt. Her high heels echoed on the cracked concrete of the sidewalk as she approached the entrance. The lobby was exactly as she remembered from her previous visit. The smell of mildew mixed with cheap cleaning products, peeling walls, worn floors. Mrs. Martha was nowhere in sight this time, and Jennifer was grateful. She wasn't sure she could handle more questions or pitying looks right now. Climbing the stairs, Jennifer felt her heart pound faster with each step. What would she say once she got there? How would the children react? And more importantly, was she truly prepared for the answers she might find? Reaching the third floor, she stopped in front of apartment 302. For a moment, she stood still, just listening. On the other side of the door, she could hear the low sound of a TV and what seemed to be a soft, childlike murmur. Jennifer took a deep breath, raised her hand and knocked 3 times. The silence that followed was so complete that Jennifer could hear her own heartbeat. Then light footsteps approached the door. "Who is it?" a cautious little voice asked from the other side. Jennifer swallowed hard. "My name is Jennifer Wilson. I was Robert's wife." There was a pause, then the sound of several locks being unlatched. The door opened slowly, revealing the same girl Jennifer had seen at the funeral, Lily. The girl's eyes went wide in recognition. "You're the pretty lady from Uncle Robert's photos," she said, her voice a mix of surprise and caution. Jennifer felt a knot form in her throat. "Yes, that's me. May I come in?" Lily hesitated for a moment, her dark eyes studying Jennifer intently. Then, slowly, she opened the door wider and stepped aside. The apartment was small but surprisingly cozy. The walls, though clearly old, were painted a soft yellow. A worn but clean sofa took up most of the living room, and a small TV played cartoons at a low volume. In the corner, a simple crib held a sleeping baby, Ethan. "He just fell asleep," Lily explained quietly, closing the door behind Jennifer. "He had a rough night," Jennifer nodded, at a loss for words. Her gaze wandered around the room, taking in every detail. On the small coffee table, she noticed a few children's books, and next to them, vials of medications she recognized as extremely expensive. Are you both okay?" Jennifer finally managed to ask, her voice trembling. Lily looked at her with an intensity far beyond her few years. "We're getting by," she answered simply. Then, as if remembering something important, she added, "I'm sorry about Uncle Robert. He was really good to us." The girl's words were like an arrow straight to Jennifer's heart. She felt tears welling up in her eyes but held them back. "Can you tell me about him? About how you met?" Lily gestured toward the sofa, and Jennifer sat down. The girl settled on the other end, pulling her knees to her chest in a posture that made her seem even smaller. "It was on a rainy night," Lily began, her voice soft but steady. "Ethan was really sick. He had a high fever, and I didn't know what to do. We were looking for food behind a restaurant when Uncle Robert found us." Jennifer listened, spellbound, as Lily recounted the events of that fateful night. The girl described how Robert, leaving work late, spotted them rummaging through trash bags, how he, instead of simply walking by or calling the authorities, stopped to see if they needed help. "He saw Ethan was burning up with fever," Lily continued, her eyes distant as if reliving the scene. "He didn't hesitate for a second. He took us straight to the hospital." The story that followed was a testament to Robert's kindness and compassion. He not only paid for Ethan's treatment, but also made sure Lily received medical care. In the days that followed, while Ethan recovered in the hospital, Robert devoted himself to learning more about the children's situation. "Our parents died in a car accident," Lily explained, her voice trembling slightly. "We didn't have anyone else. Social services wanted to separate us, send Ethan to one family and me to another. I couldn't let that happen. He's all I have left." Jennifer felt her heart clench. The courage and determination of this little girl were both impressive and heartbreaking. "That's when Uncle Robert came up with the idea of this apartment," Lily continued, gesturing around. "He said it would be our secret, that he'd help us until we could legally stay together." As Lily spoke, Jennifer began to grasp the extent of Robert's involvement. He hadn't just provided a place for the children to live, he had also made sure they had everything they needed: food, clothes, toys, and most importantly, the expensive medications Ethan needed for his condition. "He came to visit whenever he could," Lily said, a small smile forming on her lips. Sometimes he brought presents, books for me, toys for Ethan, but the best part was when he just stayed here, playing with us or reading stories. Jennifer listened, awestruck and moved. This was a side of Robert she had never known, a man capable of such generosity and love, willing to completely change the lives of two unknown children. "He talked about you a lot, you know," Lily added, catching Jennifer by surprise. "He showed us pictures, told us stories. He said that one day, when everything was sorted out, he would introduce us. That we would be a family." Lily's words hit Jennifer like a punch to the stomach. A family. Robert had wanted them to be a family. And now, "I'm sorry," Jennifer whispered, the tears finally escaping. "I'm sorry he never got the chance to do that." Lily leaned closer, hesitant, and to Jennifer's surprise took her hand. "He loved you very much," the girl said softly. "He always said you had the biggest heart in the world, and that one day you'd understand all this." Jennifer sobbed quietly, overwhelmed by emotion. Robert's kindness, Lily's strength, the innocence of the baby sleeping peacefully in the crib, all of it hit her at once. At that moment, looking into Lily's eyes, Jennifer made a decision. She didn't know exactly how, but she would do everything to honor Robert's wishes. Somehow she would take care of these children. She would complete what her husband had started. "Lily," Jennifer said gently, giving the girl's hand a soft squeeze. Do you think we could try to be that family Robert wanted?" Lily's eyes filled with tears, but she smiled, a genuine, hopeful smile. "I'd really like that," she replied. In that small riverside apartment, so different from the luxurious world Jennifer was used to, she felt she was taking the first steps on a new journey. A journey Robert had begun with an act of kindness on a rainy night, and which now she had to continue. The silence was broken by a small whimper from the crib. Ethan was waking up. Can I see him?" Jennifer asked hesitantly. Lily nodded and got up, guiding Jennifer to the crib. Ethan was stirring, his little eyes blinking sleepily. When he saw Lily, he broke into a big, toothless grin. "Hi, little one," Lily whispered affectionately, scooping the baby into her arms with a skill that amazed Jennifer. "There's someone here who wants to meet you." Jennifer watched mesmerized as Lily cradled Ethan with ease. The bond between the siblings was palpable, and Jennifer felt a surge of admiration for the girl's maturity and devotion. "He's beautiful," Jennifer commented softly, extending a finger that Ethan promptly grasped with his chubby hand. "Do you want to hold him?" Lily offered, surprising Jennifer. With a lump in her throat, Jennifer nodded. Lily carefully transferred Ethan to Jennifer's arms, instructing her on how to properly support the baby's head. The weight of Ethan in her arms felt at once strange and strangely familiar. Jennifer looked into the baby's face, noticing his large, curious eyes gazing back at her. There was something in Ethan's gaze that reminded her of Robert, perhaps the same inherent kindness that her husband had possessed. "Hi, Ethan," Jennifer whispered, tears threatening to return. "I'm Jennifer. I was Uncle Robert's wife." Ethan gurgled happily, his tiny fist still clutching Jennifer's finger. She felt her heart melt with that simple gesture. "He likes you," Lily commented, smiling as she watched the interaction. "He usually cries with strangers." Jennifer laughed softly, gently rocking Ethan. "I guess he knows I'm not exactly a stranger," she replied, surprised by the truth in her own words. As she rocked Ethan, Jennifer let her eyes roam the small apartment again. Now that the initial shock had passed, she began to notice more details. On the wall were colorful drawings clearly done by Lily, portraying what looked like her, Ethan, and a tall man who could only be Robert. On a shelf, she saw some educational toys that she recognized as the brand Robert used to buy for holiday charity drives. "Lily," Jennifer called softly, "can you tell me more about what Robert was like when he visited you?" Lily's face lit up at the question. "Oh, those were the best days," she exclaimed, sitting on the sofa and motioning for Jennifer to join her. Carefully, Jennifer sat down, still holding Ethan. "He always brought something special," Lily began, her eyes gleaming with memories. "Sometimes it was food. He knew I loved pepperoni pizza. Other times, he brought new books. He loved reading to us." Jennifer smiled, remembering how Robert always insisted on reading stories to his friends' children when they visited. It was a side of him she'd always found endearing, but she had never realized how much it meant to him. But the best part, Lily continued, was when he just stayed here, playing with us. He made up the craziest stories. The girl laughed, lost in a happy memory. One time, he pretended the sofa was a pirate ship, and we spent the whole afternoon sailing the seven seas. Jennifer laughed along, imagining the scene. Robert, always so serious and composed at work, fully engaging in children's games. It was a side of him she rarely saw, and her heart ached at the thought of all the times he must have come here, filling this small apartment with joy and laughter. And he always brought Ethan's medicines, Lily added, her voice turning more serious. He explained to me how to give each one at the right times. He cared so much about us. Jennifer nodded, feeling the weight of Ethan in her arms. He really did care, she said gently. Robert had the biggest heart of anyone I've ever known. Lily fell quiet for a moment, seeming to gather her courage before speaking again. Finally, she looked directly at Jennifer. He talked about you a lot, you know. He said you were the most amazing person he knew, that one day, when everything was sorted out, we'd all be a family. Lily's words sent a whirlwind of emotions through Jennifer. Joy, knowing that Robert spoke of her with such love, sadness for all the missed opportunities, and a growing resolve to honor her husband's wishes. Lily, Jennifer began, carefully choosing her words, I know it must be strange and scary for someone you don't know to appear like this, but I want you to know I'm here to help, to keep doing what Robert started. Lily studied her for a long moment, her eyes looking far older than her years. You mean, you want to take care of us? Jennifer nodded, tears threatening again. If you'll let me, yes, I want to take care of you. I want to give you everything Robert wanted for you. Lily was silent for a moment, processing Jennifer's words. Her eyes filled with tears, but she bravely held them back. You really want that? Yes, Lily. I really do, Jennifer answered firmly, surprised by her own certainty. Robert clearly loved you both, and I want to honor that. I want to know you, take care of you, be the family he dreamed we would be. Lily bit her lip, clearly wrestling with a mix of emotions. But what if you change your mind? What if it's too hard? Ethan needs so much care, so when I... Jennifer gently interrupted, placing a comforting hand on Lily's shoulder. Lily, I know it won't be easy. I know there will be challenges, but I promise you I won't give up. You're important to me because you were important to Robert. And now, after meeting you, you're important to me for who you are. Jennifer's words seemed to break something inside Lily. The girl let out a sob, and before Jennifer could react, Lily flung herself into her arms, careful not to squish Ethan. Jennifer wrapped her free arm around Lily, holding both the girl and the baby in a tight embrace. She felt Lily's tears soaking her blouse, and her own tears fell freely. It's okay, Jennifer whispered, stroking Lily's hair. It's okay to cry. You're not alone anymore. I'm here now. They stayed like that for several minutes, the only sound in the apartment being Lily's muffled sobs and Ethan's occasional gurgles. When Lily finally pulled away, her eyes were red, but there was a new glimmer of hope in them. What happens now? Lily asked, her voice still shaky. Jennifer took a deep breath, thinking quickly. Well, first we need to handle the legal aspects. I'll call the best lawyers to make sure you two can stay together under my guardianship. In the meantime, I'll make arrangements so you have all the support you need here. Lily nodded, looking a bit overwhelmed but grateful. And as for you, young lady, Jennifer continued with a gentle smile, I think it's time for you to go back to school, don't you think? Lily's eyes went wide. School, but I haven't gone in a long time. And who will take care of Ethan? We'll figure that out together, Jennifer assured her. We'll find a good daycare for Ethan, with professionals who can handle his medical needs. And as for you, we'll see what grade level you're at and make sure you get all the help you need to catch up. Lily seemed to consider this for a moment before slowly nodding. I liked school before everything happened. Then let's make it happen, Jennifer said, offering an encouraging smile. But don't worry, we'll do everything at your pace, okay? I don't want you feeling pressured or overwhelmed." At that moment, Ethan began to squirm restlessly in Jennifer's arms, making small sounds of discomfort. "Oh, he's probably hungry," Lily said, slipping instinctively into caregiver mode. "Can I—" Jennifer gently transferred Ethan to Lily, watching with admiration as the girl skillfully prepared a bottle while soothing the baby. "You're amazing, you know that," Jennifer commented, causing Lily to blush. "The way you take care of Ethan, it's really impressive," Lily shrugged, but Jennifer could see the pride in her eyes. "Someone had to take care of him," she said simply. While Lily fed Ethan, Jennifer took the chance to get a closer look at the apartment. Despite its simplicity, everything was impeccably clean and organized. In the small kitchen, she saw a stack of medical prescriptions and detailed instructions for Ethan's medications, all written in Robert's familiar handwriting. "Lily," Jennifer called softly, "do you mind if I look at these papers? I think it would be good for me to understand more about Ethan's condition." Lily nodded, still focused on feeding the baby. Jennifer began reading Robert's notes, feeling a mix of awe and sadness. Her husband had completely dedicated himself to caring for these children, learning everything about Ethan's medical condition, making sure Lily knew exactly what to do in every scenario. As she read, Jennifer started forming a plan in her mind. She would use her connections in the pharmaceutical industry to ensure Ethan had access to the best treatments available. She would hire specialized nurses to help with daily care and to train both Lily and herself on the necessary procedures. "Lily," Jennifer said, returning to the living room, "I think I understand most of this, but can you walk me through Ethan's daily care routine? I want to be sure I'm getting it right." Lily agreed and spent the next few minutes meticulously detailing the schedule for medications, feedings, and the special care Ethan required. Jennifer listened carefully, making mental notes and occasionally asking clarifying questions. "You do all this by yourself?" Jennifer asked, impressed. Lily nodded. "Uncle Robert taught me everything. He said I was the best nurse Ethan could have." Jennifer smiled, feeling a surge of affection for both Robert and Lily. "Well, now you won't be alone anymore. We'll take care of Ethan together, okay?" Lily smiled back, looking relieved. That would be great." As the afternoon wore on, Jennifer, Lily, and Ethan fell into a comfortable routine. Jennifer helped Lily prepare a simple snack, and they talked about lighter things, Lily's favorite cartoons, the stories Robert used to tell, the toys Ethan loved. By the time the sun began to set, Jennifer realized she had spent the entire day in the tiny apartment. She was surprised to find she felt no desire to leave. The outside world, with its business meetings and social commitments, seemed distant and unimportant compared to what she had discovered here. "Lily," Jennifer began, her voice soft, "I know this is sudden, but would you mind if I stayed here tonight? I don't want to leave you alone." Lily's eyes widened in surprise, but a shy smile formed on her face. You'd stay, really?" Jennifer nodded, feeling a certainty she hadn't felt since Robert's death. "Yes, I'd stay, if that's okay with you." Lily glanced at Ethan, sleeping in her arms, then looked back at Jennifer. "That would be great," she said quietly. "There's an extra mattress in the closet. Uncle Robert sometimes slept here." Jennifer's heart clenched at that piece of information. How many nights had Robert spent here, caring for these children, while she slept alone in the mansion? Unaware. "Great," Jennifer said, forcing a smile through the tears that threatened to fall. "How about you show me where everything is, and then we can make dinner together?" Lily nodded enthusiastically, and the two set about rummaging through the small kitchen, working together to prepare a simple meal. Standing next to Lily, chopping vegetables while the girl prepared pasta, Jennifer felt a peace she hadn't experienced in a long time. Here, in this small apartment, with these two children she barely knew, she felt more at home than she ever had in her lavish mansion. Night settled over the city, turning another page in Jennifer Wilson's life. She had no idea what the future held, but for the first time since Robert's death, she felt hopeful about what lay ahead. The morning sun filtered through the thin curtains of the tiny apartment, casting a gentle glow on Jennifer, who was seated at the kitchen table, surrounded by a pile of medical documents. She had spent the entire night there, absorbing every detail of Ethan's condition, determined to fully understand the challenge they faced. Lily entered the kitchen, rubbing sleepy eyes. "Good morning, Jennifer. Did you stay up all night?" Jennifer looked up, surprised at how much time had passed. "Good morning, Lily. I guess I did. I wanted to learn everything about Ethan's condition." Jennifer was sitting on the small sofa in the apartment, flipping through a photo album Lily had shown her. Each page revealed a new aspect of Robert she had never known, her husband smiling broadly as he played with the children at the park, reading them stories, even making funny faces at the camera. It felt like she was seeing a stranger, a completely different man from the serious, reserved executive she thought she knew so well. "He was always like that when he was with us," Lily commented, noticing Jennifer's perplexed expression. "He said here he could be himself, without pressures or expectations." Lily's words struck Jennifer like a punch in the stomach. She had always believed Robert was himself around her, but now she realized that maybe she had never truly known the real Robert. He never acted like that at home," Jennifer murmured, more to herself than to Lily. The girl looked at her with a wisdom far beyond her years. Maybe he thought he had to be different there, more serious, more grown up. Jennifer nodded slowly, feeling a confusing mix of emotions bubbling up inside her. Pride for the compassionate, generous man Robert was, admiration for his dedication to these children, and also a deep hurt for being kept in the dark. "Lily," Jennifer began hesitantly, "did Robert ever talk about why he didn't tell me about you?" Lily was quiet for a moment, clearly choosing her words carefully. "He said he wanted to protect us, that the fewer people who knew, the safer we'd be." She paused before continuing. "But he also said he was scared." "Scared?" Jennifer asked, surprised. "Scared of what?" "Disappointing you, I think," Lily replied gently. "He said you were incredible, that you worked hard to help people through your company. I guess he was afraid you wouldn't understand why he was doing all this in secret." Jennifer felt tears forming. The idea that Robert feared her reaction, that he believed she might not understand or approve of his compassion, was painful. Had she been so focused on success and status that her own husband was afraid to show her his kinder, more altruistic side? "I would have understood," she whispered, more to herself than to Lily. "I would have helped." Lily placed a comforting hand on Jennifer's. "He knew that, deep down. He always said that one day he would introduce us, that we'd be a real family." Jennifer wiped away her tears, offering Lily a shaky smile. "Well, I guess we're fulfilling his wish now, aren't we?" Lily nodded, smiling back. "Yes, we are." Just then, Ethan's crying echoed through the apartment. Jennifer automatically got up, surprised at how natural the gesture already felt. "I'll take care of it," she told Lily. "You've done so much already." As she soothed Ethan, changing his diaper and murmuring soft words of comfort, Jennifer reflected on her life. The contrast between the warmth of this tiny apartment and the cold opulence of her mansion was striking. And yet, there seemed to be more love and purpose within these walls than she had ever felt in all her years of privilege. After placing Ethan back in his crib, Jennifer returned to the living room, where Lily was gathering up scattered toys. "Lily," Jennifer called gently, "may I ask you something?" The girl looked up, curious. "Sure. Do you think Robert was happy? I mean, when he was here with you?" Lily didn't hesitate for a second. "Yes, he was. Very happy. Sometimes, when he arrived, he looked tired and worried. But after a while playing with us or reading stories, he always left with a smile." Jennifer felt her heart tighten. How many times had she seen Robert come home looking exhausted, only to watch him shut himself in his office or bury himself in reports? How many opportunities had she missed to be the reason behind his smile? "You know," Lily continued, "he always talked about you too. He said you were the reason he wanted to be a better person." Jennifer looked at Lily, surprised. "He said that?" Lily nodded. "Yes. He said that seeing you working hard to help people through the company inspired him to do more, to be better. Lily's words made Jennifer rethink the entire dynamic of her marriage. She had always seen her own work and Robert's as separate endeavors, two parallel careers that occasionally intersected. But now she realized they may have influenced each other more than she had ever imagined. "I always thought I was doing the right thing," Jennifer murmured, more to herself than to Lily. "Working hard, building the company, making money so we could donate, fund research." Lily looked at her with empathy beyond her years. "And that's good, right? You're helping a lot of people." Jennifer nodded slowly. "Yes, but seeing what Robert did here, how he helped you directly, makes me question if I'm really doing enough." "Uncle Robert always said there's no single way to do good," Lily said softly. "He said what matters is doing something, anything, to make the world a little better." Jennifer felt a wave of love and admiration for her late husband. Even now, through Lily's words, he continued teaching her, inspiring her to be better. "He was right," Jennifer said, smiling through her tears. "And I think it's time for me to do more, in a more direct way." "Like taking care of us?" Lily asked with a grin. Jennifer chuckled softly. "Yes, like taking care of you, but also, maybe it's time I use my position at the company to do more, to help more people directly, the way Robert did." As she spoke, Jennifer felt a new determination grow within her. Discovering Robert's secret life of compassion and generosity had changed something fundamental in her worldview. "You know, Lily," Jennifer began, suddenly feeling inspired to share her thoughts. "I spent so long thinking success meant having more money, more power, more recognition. But seeing what Robert did here, with you, makes me realize true success is about giving more, helping more, loving more." Lily listened carefully, her eyes shining with understanding. Uncle Robert used to say something similar. He said life isn't measured by what you have, but by what you give. Jennifer felt her heart fill with love and admiration for Robert. Even after his death, he was still teaching her, guiding her to become a better person. "He was right," Jennifer said softly, "and I think it's time I start living more by that principle." In that moment, looking at Lily and at the crib where Ethan slept peacefully, Jennifer felt she was standing at the threshold of a major transformation. Learning about Robert's acts of kindness wasn't just surprising, it was transformative. She began to see her life of luxury and privilege in a new light. What once seemed like impressive achievements, the mansion, the expensive cars, the jewels, now felt empty compared to what Robert had built here in this tiny apartment. Love, family, purpose. These were the true riches of life. "Lily," Jennifer said, her voice filled with determination, "I think it's time we make some changes. Big changes." Lily looked at her curiously. "What kind of changes?" Jennifer took a deep breath, organizing her thoughts. "First, we'll take care of you two. I'll hire the best lawyers to make sure we can stay together legally. And then, I think it's time to rethink how I use the company's resources." She paused, her ideas taking shape as she spoke. Robert was right to want to help directly, to make a tangible difference in people's lives. Maybe we can create a foundation, use part of the company's profits to help children like you and Ethan. Lily's eyes grew wide. "You would do that?" Jennifer smiled, feeling a surge of excitement she hadn't felt in years. "Yes, I would. It's what Robert would have wanted. It's what I want." In that moment, Jennifer felt as though she was seeing the world through Robert's eyes for the first time. She understood why he had kept this life a secret, not out of shame or fear of her reaction, but because he knew some things are too precious to expose to the cynical corporate world. "You know, Lily," Jennifer said gently, "I think I finally understand Robert. Not just the man I knew, but the man he really was. And I'm so proud of him." Lily smiled, her eyes shining with tears. "He would be happy to hear that. He always wanted you to understand." Jennifer nodded, feeling her own tears start to fall. I wish I had the chance to tell him that I understand now, that I support him, that I love this side of him even more." Lily stepped closer, taking Jennifer's hand. "I think he knows, somehow he knows." Jennifer squeezed Lily's hand, grateful for the comfort. "Thank you, Lily, for showing me this side of Robert, for helping me understand." They stood there, hand in hand, sharing a moment of mutual understanding and connection. Jennifer knew her life would never be the same. Her discoveries about Robert had planted a seed of change in her heart, one she was determined to nurture. As the sun set outside, casting a golden glow through the apartment window, Jennifer made a silent promise to Robert, to Lily, to Ethan, and to herself. She would honor Robert's legacy, not just by caring for these children, but by bringing his compassion and generosity into the corporate world. She would use her power and influence not just to generate profit, but to make a real difference in people's lives. Jennifer Wilson, the powerful CEO, was about to become something more, a force for good, inspired by the love and compassion of her late husband. And while the road ahead was uncertain and likely filled with challenges, she faced it with a new perspective and an open heart. Robert's other side, the one she had never fully known in life, would now be the guiding light for her actions. And in that light, Jennifer found not only the pain of loss, but also the promise of a new beginning, for her, for Lily, for Ethan, and for everyone her future actions would touch. Lily approached, her eyes drifting over the papers scattered on the table. "Uncle Robert did that too," she said softly. "Sometimes I'd find him asleep here in the morning, his head on those papers." Jennifer felt a pang in her chest at the thought of Robert, always so composed and professional, falling asleep over a stack of medical documents, determined to help a child who wasn't even his. "He really cared so much about you," she murmured. "Yes," Lily agreed, a sad smile on her lips. "He said Ethan was a warrior, and that together we'd win this battle." Jennifer nodded, turning her attention back to the documents. "Lily, can you tell me more about Ethan's illness? I want to know exactly what we're up against." Lily sat down beside Jennifer, her posture shifting subtly. Suddenly, she no longer looked like a sleepy child, but rather a knowledgeable and experienced caregiver. "Ethan has a rare autoimmune disease," she began, her voice firm. "It means his immune system, which should protect him, actually attacks parts of his own body." Jennifer listened intently as Lily explained the details of Ethan's condition. The girl spoke with an understanding far beyond her years, using medical terms with ease and explaining complex concepts in a way Jennifer could grasp. "The medications help control his immune system," Lily continued, "but they're really expensive and sometimes have bad side effects." Uncle Robert was always looking for new treatments, researching new options. Jennifer felt a surge of admiration for her late husband. She knew Robert was dedicated to his job, but she never imagined he would apply that same dedication to something so personal and altruistic. "Did he ever mention using the company's resources to help?" Jennifer asked, curious. Lily shook her head. "No, he always said this was personal. He didn't want to mix things up." Jennifer nodded, feeling both pride and sadness. Pride in Robert's integrity, and sadness that she had never known this side of him. "What about you, Lily?" Jennifer asked gently. "How did you learn all this? How did you become so good at taking care of Ethan?" Lily shrugged, but Jennifer caught a flash of pride in her eyes. "Uncle Robert taught me. He said knowledge is power, and the more I knew, the better I could take care of Ethan." Jennifer pictured Robert sitting at this very table, patiently explaining complex medical terms to a small child, her heart filled with love and admiration for him. "He spent hours with me," Lily continued, her eyes distant with the memory, "teaching me about the medications, the symptoms to watch for. Sometimes we made games to help me remember." "Games?" Jennifer asked, intrigued. Lily smiled. "Yes, he made up memory games with the names of the medications or riddles about the symptoms. He turned it all into a big adventure, you know, like we were detectives solving the mystery of Ethan's illness." Jennifer felt tears forming again. This was a side of Robert she had never known, patient and creative, capable of turning something scary and complex into an adventure a child could understand and even enjoy. "He also read to us a lot," Lily added, her face lighting up. "Every night before bedtime, he'd read a story. Sometimes fairy tales, other times stories he made up himself." "He made up stories," Jennifer said, surprised. Robert had always been so pragmatic, so focused on facts and numbers. The idea of him creating bedtime stories was completely new to her. Lily nodded enthusiastically. Oh yes, he was really good at it. He had one story about a brave boy who had to fight invisible monsters in his body. It was obviously about Ethan and his illness, but he made it sound like a superhero adventure. Jennifer pictured Robert sitting at the edge of a bed, inventing fantastical stories for these two children. It both warmed and broke her heart. How could she not have known this side of him? And he always promised, Lily continued, her voice turning softer, that one day we'd be a real family, that he'd find a way to adopt us, give us a permanent home. Jennifer felt tears streaming down her cheeks. He really wanted that, didn't he? To have you as part of our family. Lily nodded, her own eyes filling with tears. Yes. He said you had the biggest heart in the world, and that once you knew about us, you'd love us just as much as he did. Jennifer reached out and took Lily's hand. He was right, you know. I already love you, and I will do everything I can to fulfill Robert's dream, to make us the family he wanted. Lily squeezed Jennifer's hand, a shaky smile on her lips. I'd really like that. At that moment, Ethan's cry echoed through the apartment. Lily stood up instantly, but Jennifer stopped her gently. May I? She asked. I think it's time I learn how to take care of him too. Lily hesitated for a moment, then nodded. Sure, I'll show you how to do it. Together, they walked to the crib. Ethan was fussy, his face red from crying. Jennifer carefully picked him up, following Lily's instructions on how to hold him properly. He's probably hungry, Lily explained, and it's time for his morning medication too. Jennifer watched attentively as Lily prepared the bottle and set aside the necessary medications. The girl explained each step of the process, just as Robert had explained them to her. You have to mix this medication with the milk, Lily instructed, but be careful not to leave lumps, or he'll notice and won't drink it. Jennifer followed Lily's instructions, amazed by the girl's competence. Once the bottle was ready, Lily showed Jennifer how to hold Ethan in the correct feeding position. Like this, Lily said, gently adjusting Jennifer's arms. Keep his head slightly elevated. Jennifer felt a rush of emotion as she fed Ethan. The baby gazed at her with big, curious eyes, trusting in her arms as if he'd known her forever. You're doing really well, Lily praised with a smile. Jennifer smiled back, feeling a growing bond with these children Robert had loved so much. Thank you, Lily, for teaching me, for trusting me. Lily shrugged again, but Jennifer could see the pride in her eyes. Uncle Robert always said teaching is the best way to learn. I think he'd be happy to see us like this. Jennifer nodded, feeling a mix of joy and sorrow. I'm sure he would, sweetheart. I'm sure he would. While feeding Ethan, Jennifer asked Lily more questions about their daily routine, the challenges they faced, and the small triumphs they celebrated. Lily described the nights when Ethan had a high fever, how Robert sometimes showed up in the middle of the night just to make sure they were okay. He always knew what to do, Lily said, her voice full of admiration. Even when I was scared, he stayed calm. He said we had to be strong for Ethan. Jennifer imagined Robert, the man she knew as a calm, collected executive, sitting in this tiny apartment in the middle of the night, comforting a frightened little girl and caring for a sick baby. It was an image that filled her with both love and heartbreak for all she hadn't known about him. He was amazing, Jennifer murmured, more to herself than to Lily. Yes, he was, Lily agreed softly. But you are too, Jennifer. You're here, learning, trying your best. Uncle Robert would be really proud. Lily's words touched Jennifer deeply. She looked at the baby in her arms, then at the girl by her side and felt a growing determination. She would honor Robert's memory by caring for these children and continuing the work he had started. Thank you, Lily, Jennifer said, her voice thick with emotion. I promise I'll do my best to take care of you, just like Robert did. Lily smiled, a smile filled with hope and trust. I know you will. The three of us, together, we'll win this battle. For Uncle Robert, Jennifer nodded, a mix of resolve and love filling her heart. Yes, sweetheart, for Robert and for us, we're a family now. And there, in that small apartment, with Ethan in her arms and Lily by her side, Jennifer felt she was taking the first steps on a new journey. A journey of love, care, and family. a journey Robert had begun and now fell to her to continue. Jennifer woke to the soft sound of Lily's breathing beside her. They had fallen asleep together on the living room sofa, exhausted after a long night of conversations and revelations. For a moment, Jennifer remained still, soaking in the peace that enveloped her. It was strange how this small apartment, so different from her luxurious mansion, now felt more like home than anywhere else. But the peace was quickly replaced by a wave of nausea that made her sit up abruptly. Lily stirred, but didn't wake. Jennifer took a deep breath, trying to control the queasiness she'd been feeling for a few days, which she had attributed to emotional stress. Carefully, she got up and went to the bathroom. Staring at her reflection in the mirror, Jennifer barely recognized the woman looking back. Her eyes, usually sharp and focused, were softened by a mix of emotions: sadness, love, determination. Her face, normally perfectly made up even in the early morning, was bare and vulnerable. "Who are you?" she whispered to her reflection. "Who do you want to be?" The questions echoed in her mind as she returned to the living room. Her eyes took in the little details that spoke volumes about the life Robert had built here. Lily's drawings on the fridge, Ethan's educational toys neatly organized, photos of happy moments scattered on the walls, all painting a portrait of the love and devotion that made her heart ache. She picked up one of the photos, in which Robert smiled widely as he held Ethan Lily beside him, making a funny face for the camera. The contrast between this relaxed, happy Robert and the serious, reserved man she knew at home was startling. "Why didn't you ever show me this side, Robert?" Jennifer murmured, tracing the photo with her fingertip. "Why did you think you had to hide it from me?" Guilt washed over her. How many signs had she ignored? How many times had Robert come home late, offering vague excuses about extra work, and she hadn't even questioned it? She'd been so focused on her own career, on building the empire that now seemed so hollow. Jennifer sank onto the sofa, still holding the photo. Memories of her marriage to Robert played in her mind like a slow-motion film. The rushed dinners, the superficial conversations about work and social obligations, the nights they fell asleep back to back, too exhausted to truly connect. But there were also moments of tenderness, moments that now took on new meaning. The times Robert surprised her with small gestures, like a flower on her desk or her favorite coffee waiting in the morning. The nights he insisted on cooking for her, though he was a terrible cook, just to see her smile. The lazy Sundays when they stayed in bed late, planning a future that would now never be. "I should have paid more attention," Jennifer whispered, tears starting to fall. "I should have asked more, listened more." At that moment, Ethan began to cry softly in his crib. Jennifer stood automatically, surprised at how natural the movement already felt. She scooped him up, cradling him gently. "Shh, it's okay, little one," she murmured. "I'm here." As she comforted Ethan, Jennifer felt a surge of love so intense it nearly took her breath away. This baby, who had been a stranger just weeks ago, now felt like an essential part of her life. And Lily, the brave little girl, wise beyond her years, had become as important to Jennifer as any blood relative. "We'll be okay," Jennifer promised Ethan, and herself. "We'll honor Robert's memory. We'll be the family he wanted for us." Once Ethan was asleep again, Jennifer gently placed him back in the crib. She lingered for a moment, watching his peaceful slumber, feeling a determination grow inside her. She couldn't change the past, couldn't bring Robert back or undo the choices that led them here. But she could shape the future, honor the legacy of love and compassion he had left. With that resolution, Jennifer decided it was time to confront something she had been avoiding: Robert's office in her mansion. She left a note for Lily, explaining where she'd be, and left the apartment quietly. The drive to the mansion felt surreal. The familiar streets of her upscale neighborhood now seemed distant and alien. When she entered her house, the contrast between the warm comfort of the small apartment and the cold grandeur of her home hit her with full force. Jennifer paused at the door to Robert's office, her hand hesitating on the knob. Taking a deep breath, she stepped inside. The familiar scent of old books and his favorite aftershave enveloped her, bringing tears to her eyes. Slowly, Jennifer began to explore the space. Every object, every book, Every piece of paper seemed to contain a piece of Robert's essence. She opened drawers and flipped through documents, looking for what she wasn't sure. Then her eyes fell on a drawer she had never noticed before, cleverly hidden on the side of the desk. With her heart pounding, Jennifer opened it. Inside, she found a leather-bound journal and a flash drive. With trembling hands, Jennifer opened the journal. Robert's familiar handwriting filled the pages, detailing not only his meetings with Lily and Ethan, but also his plans for the future. Plans to use the company's resources to create a foundation for children in need. "Oh, Robert," Jennifer whispered, tears streaming down her face. "Why didn't you tell me? I would have helped. I would have understood." As she read, Jennifer felt a flood of emotions wash over her: admiration for Robert's vision and compassion, sadness for all the missed opportunities to share in this with him, and a fierce determination to bring these plans to life. Hours passed as Jennifer absorbed every word, every idea Robert had written. When she finally closed the journal, the sun was already setting, casting long shadows across the office. Jennifer stood up, feeling physically and emotionally drained, but also strangely invigorated. She knew what she had to do. She would honor Robert's legacy, not only by taking care of Lily and Ethan, but also by realizing his dream of using the company's power and resources to make a real difference in the world. But first, there was something she needed to do, something she could no longer ignore. The next morning, Jennifer sat in a sterile waiting room, her hands clenched nervously in her lap. The doctor's office was discreet and upscale, chosen for both its reputation and privacy. "Mrs. Wilson," a nurse called, smiling kindly, "the doctor will see you now." Jennifer followed the nurse into the office, her heart hammering in her chest. She had ignored the symptoms for days, chalking them up to stress and emotional exhaustion. But after discovering Robert's journal, after confronting so many truths about her past and future, she couldn't deny the possibility any longer. Dr. Stevenson, a middle-aged man with kind eyes, greeted her warmly. "Mrs. Wilson, it's good to see you. How can I help you today?" Jennifer took a deep breath, gathering her courage. "Doctor, I think I might be pregnant." The doctor nodded, not seeming surprised. "I see. Let's run some tests to make sure, okay?" The next few minutes were a blur of blood samples, questions about her symptoms, and a brief physical exam. When Dr. Stevenson finally sat down with her results, Jennifer felt as though the air had been sucked out of the room. "Mrs. Wilson," he began, a small smile forming. "Congratulations, you're pregnant." The world seemed to pause for a moment. Jennifer heard the words, but they took a few seconds to register. Pregnant. She was pregnant. With Robert's child. How far along?" she managed to ask in a whisper. "By our calculations, you're about 6 weeks," Dr. Stevenson answered gently. "Jennifer, I know this might be surprising news, especially considering recent circumstances. Do you have someone you can talk to about this?" Jennifer nodded numbly, her mind spinning. 6 weeks. That meant the baby was conceived just before Robert's accident. One last gift, one final connection to the man she was only beginning to truly know. I do have support," she finally replied, thinking of Lily, of Ethan, of the makeshift family they were forming. "Thank you, doctor." The rest of the appointment passed in a daze. Jennifer heard instructions about prenatal care, received prescriptions for vitamins, and scheduled her next visit, all in a state of shock and wonder. When she finally left the doctor's office, the world outside felt different. Colors seemed more vivid, sounds sharper. Jennifer placed a hand on her still, flat abdomen, barely able to believe that a new life was growing there. "Oh, Robert," she whispered, tears falling once more. "Did you know? Somehow. Did you know?" The drive home was an emotional roller coaster. Jennifer swung between overwhelming joy and paralyzing fear. How would she raise this baby alone? How would this affect her plans with Lily and Ethan? And how, in heaven's name, would she balance a pregnancy with fulfilling Robert's ambitious dreams for the company? Once home, Jennifer went straight to Robert's office. She needed comfort, needed to feel close to him somehow. Sitting in his chair, she let her eyes roam over the space, absorbing every detail. Then her gaze fell on the flash drive she had found alongside the journal. With trembling hands, Jennifer inserted it into her laptop. What she found took her breath away. Detailed spreadsheets and project proposals, even a draft charter for a foundation. Robert had meticulously planned everything. His dream of using a significant portion of the company's profits to help children in need wasn't just a vague idea, it was a concrete, well-thought-out plan. Jennifer spent the following hours absorbing every detail of Robert's projects. The more she read, the more in awe she felt of her husband's vision and compassion, and the more determined she became to make these plans a reality. When she finally leaned back in the chair, exhausted but her mind buzzing with ideas, Jennifer placed her hand on her abdomen again. "Your dad was an incredible man," she whispered to the child she couldn't yet feel. "And we're going to honor his legacy. Together." At that moment, sitting in Robert's office, with the evidence of his dreams displayed on her screen and the promise of new life growing within her, Jennifer felt a clarity she hadn't experienced in years. She knew what she had to do. Picking up her phone, she made 2 calls. The first was to her assistant, instructing them to schedule an emergency board meeting the next morning. The second was to Lily. "Hey, Lily," she said, when the girl answered, her voice trembling slightly with emotion. "I have some news to share with you. Can we meet tonight?" As she hung up, Jennifer felt a wave of determination wash over her. The future was uncertain, filled with challenges she could barely imagine. But for the first time since Robert's death, she felt truly hopeful. With one last look at Robert's photo on her desk, Jennifer made a silent promise. She would honor his legacy. She would build a family with Lily, Ethan, and this new baby. And she would use every resource at her disposal to make the difference Robert had always dreamed of making. The sun was setting outside, casting a golden glow across the office. For Jennifer, it felt like a sign, the end of one chapter in her life and the start of something new and full of promise. With a deep breath, she stood up, ready to face whatever the future held. That night, Jennifer found herself once again in the small apartment she had come to know so well. Lily greeted her with a tight hug, her eyes shining with curiosity about the news Jennifer had mentioned. "Jennifer, are you okay? You look different," Lily observed, studying Jennifer's face closely. Jennifer smiled, feeling a mix of nervousness and excitement. "I'm good, sweetheart. Actually, I'm better than I've been in a while. There are some important things I need to tell you." They settled on the worn sofa, Ethan sleeping peacefully in his crib nearby. Jennifer took a deep breath, trying to organize her thoughts. Where should she start? "Lily," she began softly, "remember how we talked about honoring Uncle Robert's legacy, about continuing the work he started?" Lily nodded, her wide and attentive eyes fixed on Jennifer. "Well, I found out some things today, plans your Uncle Robert was making." Jennifer paused, choosing her words carefully. "He wanted to use the company's money to help children like you and Ethan, to start a foundation that could really make a difference for many kids." Lily's eyes widened with surprise and admiration. He was going to do that?" Jennifer nodded, tears threatening again. "Yes, he was. And I want to carry out that dream for him. I want to use the company to do good, to help kids who need it, the way he helped you." Lily fell silent for a moment, processing the information. Then, a slow smile spread across her face. "That would be incredible, Jennifer. Uncle Robert would be so happy." "I hope so," Jennifer said quietly. Then, taking another deep breath, she continued, "But there's more, Lily. Something I found out today that, well, it's going to change a lot of things." Lily tilted her head, curious. Jennifer placed her hand over her abdomen, a gesture that did not escape the observant girl. "Lily, I'm pregnant. I'm going to have a baby. Robert's baby." The silence that followed was overwhelming. Lily looked at Jennifer, then at her hand on her abdomen, then back to her face. Her emotions shifted from shock to confusion, and then to something Jennifer couldn't decipher. "A baby?" Lily finally repeated, her voice barely above a whisper. "You're having Uncle Robert's baby?" Jennifer nodded, tears beginning to fall again. Yes, sweetheart, I know it's a shock. Believe me, it shocked me too. Lily was quiet for another moment. Then, to Jennifer's surprise, she flung her arms around her, hugging her tightly. "Oh, Jennifer," she sobbed, This is wonderful." Jennifer hugged Lily back, letting her own tears flow freely. They stayed like that for a long time, sharing a complex mix of emotions: joy, sorrow, hope, fear. When they finally pulled apart, Lily looked at Jennifer with a serious expression. "What does this mean for us, for me and Ethan?" Jennifer's heart clenched at the obvious worry in Lily's voice. She took the girl's hands in hers, looking into her eyes. "Lily, listen to me. This changes nothing about how I feel about you and Ethan. You are my family now, just as much as this baby. We're going to be a family, all of us together. It's what Robert wanted, and it's what I want too." Lily nodded slowly, a small smile forming on her lips. "The family," she repeated softly. "All of us together." "Exactly," Jennifer confirmed, feeling a wave of love for this brave, mature child. "And together, we're going to fulfill Robert's dream. We'll use the company to help other kids, to make the difference he always wanted to make." At that moment, as if sensing the importance of the conversation, Ethan began to whimper in his crib. Lily stood up to get him, but Jennifer stopped her gently. "May I?" she asked. Lily nodded, watching as Jennifer picked Ethan up and rocked him gently. The baby calmed almost immediately, his eyes fixed on Jennifer's face. "Hey there, little guy," Jennifer murmured. "Looks like you're going to have a little brother or sister soon. What do you think of that?" Ethan cooed happily, making Lily and Jennifer laugh. "I think he approves," Lily commented, smiling genuinely. Jennifer looked at Lily, then at Ethan in her arms, then placed a hand on her own belly. Her family. It wasn't anything she or Robert had ever planned, but it was perfect in its own unique way. "Tomorrow," Jennifer said with determination in her voice, "I'm meeting with the board. I'm going to tell them about Robert's plans for the foundation. It won't be easy, but I'm ready to fight for it." Lily looked at her with admiration. "You can do it, Jennifer. I know you can." Jennifer smiled, feeling strengthened by Lily's support. "Thank you, sweetheart. And after that, well, we'll start planning our future. All of us, together." As the sun went down outside, casting a golden glow through the window of the tiny apartment, Jennifer felt enveloped by a sense of peace and purpose she hadn't felt in a long time. The road ahead would be challenging, full of obstacles and uncertainties, but with Lily and Ethan by her side, and Robert's legacy guiding her steps, she felt ready to face anything. The future, once so uncertain and frightening, now seemed full of possibility. Jennifer Wilson, powerful CEO, grieving widow, expectant mother, was ready to write the next chapter of her life, a chapter of love, family, and making a difference in the world. It was what Robert would have wanted. It was what she wanted. And so, in that tiny apartment with Ethan in her arms and Lily at her side, Jennifer made a silent promise. A promise to Robert, to these children, to the baby growing inside her, and to herself. A promise of love, dedication, and a better future for everyone. The chapter of her old life had ended, but a new one, bright and full of hope, was just beginning. Jennifer took a deep breath, adjusting her loose blouse that barely concealed her 6-month belly. She stood before the doors of the conference room, about to face the board once again. The past few months had been a whirlwind of emotions and challenges, but she felt stronger and more determined than ever. As she entered the room, the board members' eyes focused on her. Some curious, others skeptical, a few openly hostile. Jennifer lifted her chin, remembering why she was fighting. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began, her voice steady, "we're here today to discuss the progress of the Wilson Foundation and its integration with our corporate operations." The buzz of voices that followed was cut short by the deep tone of Charles Hendricks, the oldest board member. "Jennifer, we understand your personal motivation behind this project, but diverting 30% of our profits to philanthropic work, it's simply irresponsible." Jennifer felt a stab of irritation, but kept her composure. "It's not philanthropy, Charles. It's an investment in the future. Every child we help today becomes a productive adult tomorrow. Plus, Bamshi, the tax benefits and corporate image boost more than justify the initial investment. She went on to present numbers, projections, and case studies of other companies that had implemented similar programs with great success. As she spoke, Jennifer could see some of the board members growing interested, taking notes, exchanging thoughtful looks. But the battle was far from over. For hours, Jennifer answered questions, countered arguments, and passionately defended the vision she and Robert had shared. By the end of the meeting, she was exhausted but satisfied. She had secured approval for the initial phase of the project. Leaving the conference room, Jennifer found her assistant, Sarah, waiting anxiously. "How did it go?" Sarah asked, offering a bottle of water. Jennifer took a grateful sip before answering, "Tough but productive. We got approval for the first phase." Sarah smiled, genuinely pleased. She had been one of the few in the company to support Jennifer unconditionally from the start. "That's great, Jennifer. Oh, and before I forget, the lawyer called. He wants to schedule a meeting to discuss the adoption process." Jennifer's heart soared. Between her pregnancy and corporate battles, she sometimes worried that the process of adopting Lily and Ethan might be sidelined. "Excellent. Schedule it for tomorrow, please. And Sarah, thank you for everything." Sarah nodded, understanding the weight of Jennifer's words. "Always Jennifer. Oh, and don't forget, you have a prenatal appointment at 4 p.m. Jennifer looked at the clock, surprised at how time had flown. She thanked Sarah again and hurried out of the office. In the doctor's office, lying on the examination table, while Dr. Chen spread cold gel on her belly for the ultrasound, Jennifer finally allowed the day's tension to dissolve. "Here he is." Dr. Chen smiled, pointing to the screen. "Your little boy is growing strong and healthy." Jennifer felt tears form as she watched the image of her son, Robert's son. "Hi there, little one," she whispered. "Mommy's working hard to create a better world for you." Leaving the doctor's office with the latest ultrasound photos, Jennifer decided to make a surprise visit to Lily and Ethan's apartment. Though she now spent most nights there, she had kept her mansion for practical reasons. When she arrived, she was greeted by excited shouts of "Jennifer" and the sound of tiny feet running her way. Lily threw her arms around her, while Ethan, who had recently started walking, toddled over on unsteady feet. "Hi, my loves," Jennifer smiled, hugging Lily and carefully scooping Ethan into her arms. "I have a surprise for you." She showed them the ultrasound pictures, patiently explaining to Lily what each shadowy shape meant. The girl's eyes shone with fascination. "It's our baby brother," Lily said softly, touching the image reverently. Jennifer's heart filled with love. "Yes, sweetheart. He's your little brother." That night, after putting the children to bed, Jennifer sat on the small balcony of the apartment, looking out at the city lights. She rested a hand on her belly, thinking of Robert and how much he would have loved to see all of this. "We're doing it, Robert," she whispered into the night. "It's not easy, but we're doing it." The months that followed were a blur of activity. Jennifer juggled her corporate responsibilities with medical appointments, meetings with adoption lawyers, and, of course, the daily care of Lily and Ethan. The adoption process was especially challenging. Despite her financial resources and influence, Jennifer faced bureaucratic obstacles and questions about her ability to care for 2 children while running a major corporation and expecting another baby. There were moments of despair, nights when Jennifer cried silently in the bathroom, fearing she couldn't keep all her promises. But then Lily would show her a new drawing, or Ethan would take a few wobbly steps toward her, and she found renewed strength. At the company, the implementation of the Wilson Foundation faced its own challenges. Some employees embraced the idea enthusiastically, while others resisted. Jennifer spent countless hours in meetings, negotiations, and planning sessions. But slowly, almost imperceptibly at first, things began to change. The Wilson Foundation made its first donations, helping families in situations similar to Lily and Ethan's. Success stories began to pile up, and even the most skeptical board members had to admit the positive impact they were making. Then one sunny spring morning, Jennifer went into labor. With Lily holding her hand and Sarah taking care of Ethan, she welcomed little Christopher Robert Wilson into the world. Holding her newborn son, with Lily and Ethan crowding around to see their new brother, Jennifer felt an overwhelming wave of love and gratitude. Her family wasn't conventional, wasn't what she and Robert had originally planned, but it was perfect. The weeks that followed were a haze of sleepless nights, diapers and adjustments. But amid the chaos, there were moments of pure joy. Lily reading stories to Christopher, Ethan planting sloppy kisses on the baby's forehead, Jennifer watching her 3 children with a heart full of love. And then, almost without her noticing, a year had passed since Robert's death. On an autumn morning, Jennifer found herself standing in front of a mirror, preparing for an important visit. Christopher, now 2 months old, was cradled in her arms, while Lily, who had just turned 5, helped Ethan, now 2, tie his shoelaces. "Is everyone ready?" Jennifer asked, her voice gentle but firm. Lily nodded, taking Ethan's hand. "Yes, Mommy." "Can we go see Daddy now?" Jennifer's heart ached at hearing Lily call Robert Daddy. It was something the girl had only recently started doing, and it always touched her deeply. The drive to the cemetery was quiet, each member of the little family lost in their own thoughts. When they reached Robert's grave, Jennifer felt a wave of emotions wash over her. "Hi, honey," she said softly, kneeling before the headstone. "We brought the whole family today." Lily stepped forward, placing a bouquet of lilies, Robert's favorite flowers, on the grave. "Hi, Daddy," she said, her voice trembling. "We miss you." Ethan, not fully understanding but sensing the solemn mood, snuggled closer to Jennifer. "Dada?" he asked, pointing at the photo of Robert on the headstone. "Yes, sweetie," Jennifer replied, kissing the top of his head. "That's Daddy." For a few moments, they remained silent, each absorbing the presence of the others and the absence of Robert. Then, Jennifer began to speak. "Oh, Robert," she said, tears streaming freely down her face. "So much has happened in this past year, so many challenges, so many changes. But we're here, my love, we're making it happen." She told him about the Wilson Foundation, how they were helping families and children all over the country. She spoke of the adoption process, nearly finalized now. She described the birth of Christopher, named in honor of the father he would never meet. "You changed our lives, Robert," Jennifer continued, her voice trembling with emotion. "You gave us a family, a purpose. Your legacy of love and compassion lives on through us, every day." Lily, who had been listening closely, stepped forward and hugged Jennifer. "Daddy would be proud of us, wouldn't he, Mommy?" Jennifer smiled through her tears, hugging Lily back. "Yes, sweetheart, I'm sure he'd be very proud." Sensing the emotional moment, Ethan joined the hug, wrapping his small arms around Jennifer's leg. Christopher, as if feeling the significance, remained unusually quiet in his mother's arms. They stayed like that for a long moment, a family united by love and loss, gratitude and hope. Finally, Jennifer stood, adjusting Christopher in her arms. "It's time to go, kids," she said softly. "We have a lot of work to do." As they walked away from the grave, Jennifer glanced back one last time. "Thank you, Robert," she whispered, "for everything." The autumn sun cast a golden glow over the cemetery as the family made their way back to the car. Jennifer watched Lily help Ethan jump over puddles, listened to Christopher's gentle coos, and felt a surge of determination. The road ahead was still full of challenges. There was the foundation to run, children to raise, and a legacy to uphold. But Jennifer Wilson was ready. With Robert's love guiding her steps and her children's love strengthening her heart, she knew she could face anything. As she buckled the children into the car, Jennifer looked once more at the bright blue autumn sky. "We're doing it, Robert," she thought, "together even if you're not here. We're building the family and the world you dreamed of." And with that, Jennifer got into the car ready to face the next chapter of her journey. A journey of love, family, and making a difference in the world. A journey Robert had begun, and that she now continued with all her heart and all her strength. The car pulled away from the cemetery, carrying the Wilson family, unconventional, unplanned, but perfectly united, back to the world they were helping make a little better every day. And somewhere, Jennifer was certain Robert was smiling. As the car left the cemetery behind, Jennifer glanced in the rearview mirror at the three children in the back seat. Lily was quiet, lost in thought, while Ethan had already fallen asleep in his car seat. Christopher, awake and alert, watched the world go by through the window with curious eyes. "Mom?" Lily's voice broke the silence. "Yes, sweetheart," Jennifer replied, meeting Lily's gaze in the mirror. "Do you think Daddy Robert is proud of us?" Jennifer felt her heart brim with love and emotion. "I'm sure he is, Lily, absolutely sure." A small smile appeared on Lily's face. "I think so too," she said softly. The rest of the ride was spent in companionable silence. When they arrived home, Jennifer found herself filled with a sense of peace and purpose. As she helped the kids out of the car, she made a silent promise to herself and to Robert. She would continue to build the life and the legacy he had started. That night, after putting the children to bed, Jennifer sat out on the balcony of her apartment, looking at the city lights. She took out Robert's journal, which she kept nearby, and began to flip through it. Her eyes settled on a passage he had written shortly before he died. "True success isn't measured by what we accumulate, but by the positive impact we have on others' lives. I hope one day I can show Jennifer this, share with her the joy of making a difference." Jennifer traced the words with her fingertips, feeling a deep connection to the man who had written them. "I understand now, Robert," she whispered into the night, "and I promise to continue your work, to raise our family with love and compassion, and to make the difference you always wanted." With a contented sigh, Jennifer closed the journal. The future still held many challenges, but she felt ready to face them. With her children's love, the memory of Robert, and her determination, Jennifer knew she could overcome any obstacle. As she prepared for bed, Jennifer glanced one last time into the children's rooms. Lily and Ethan slept peacefully, and Christopher dozed in his crib, her family, her purpose, her legacy. "Good night, my loves," she whispered. "Good night, Robert," she added, looking at the starry sky through the window. And so Jennifer Wilson ended another day in her new life, a life she had never imagined, but one she would not trade for anything in the world, a life of challenges, of love, and of making a difference. A life that honored Robert's legacy and created a bright future for her children. This chapter closed, but Jennifer's story and her family's was far from over. It was only the beginning of an extraordinary journey, filled with love, compassion, and purpose, a journey Robert had started, and one they would continue writing together.